Landscape, Mimesis, Morality. By John Ruskin. John Ruskin. John Ruskin, an English writer, philosopher, and art critic, was born on February 8, 1819 in London. Attended the school in Peckham and then in King's College. First published a poem on Skiddaw in Derwent Water in 1829. Wrote the poetry of architecture under the pen name Pushkin. Wrote on various subjects such as geology, architecture, myth, ornithology, education, and political economy. Died on January 20, 1900 in Lancashire. Landscape, Mimesis, Morality. Published in Modern Painters in 1856. Indicates the attachment of human to the nature. Instructs the human to find happiness in the readings and how the writings are being expressed. Represents the real world of landscape, the time, and the longing of humans in this earth to attain happiness. Summary. Ruskin starts the essay by examining the difference between the ordinary or true appearance and the extraordinary or false appearance of things when one is under the influence of emotions. He states an example from Astrea by O.W. Holmes. The spendthrift crocus, bursting through the mold. Naked and shivering, with his cup of gold. He says that these lines are beautiful even though it is untrue. The crocus is not spendthrift but hard plant, it is not gold but saffron in appearance, and one cannot enjoy a crocus. If an art is untrue it is not pleasurable, but the poetry is pleasurable even if it is untrue and full of fallacy. This fallacy is considered to be of two kinds. One is that which the mind accepts willfully, and the other one depends upon the excited state of feelings. He tries to examine the acceptance of fallacy when the mind is deeply affected by emotions. He states an example from Alton Locke. They rode her in across the rolling foam. The cruel, crawling foam. On reading, the reader feels the false image of the foam as it is not hard or cannot crawl. The grief in the mind of reader will attribute to the false image of the external things, and the writer categorizes it as pathetic fallacy. He says that this fallacy is a character of poetical description, and the greatest poets do not admit such falseness. He indicates the great poet Dante stating the fall of spirits from the bank of Acheron as dead leaves flutter from a bough. But Coleridge states the one red leaf, the last of its clan, that dances as often as dance it can, which gives a false idea. He has made the fading death with merriment and wind that shakes it with music. He says that, though it is morbid, it has some beauty in it. Then he states the example from Homer and says that the readers find no pleasure in the description of sail or wind. The incident of Ulysses is considered not as a pathetic fallacy but an agonized curiosity. He says that the spirit of truth must guide the enjoyment of fallacy, which Coleridge has no discord but Pope has made it. The pathetic fallacy is considered as the morbid state of mind. It is the incapacity of human sight for the inspired prophet and the thought of the poet himself in an ordinary poetry. The pathetic fallacy is examined to find out that it is the characteristic of modern mind. The landscape or an object is expressed in modern literature or art with some sort of imagination. But the classical or the medieval painters express the actual qualities of the object. The spirit of classical landscape is expressed by words. He states that the pathetic fallacy is the characteristic of modern painting. He quotes the example of Keats expressing the waves of the sea as a perfect example of modern manner. The hard wave is stated perfectly as wayward indolence. But Homer will not use such words, and he may state the hard wave as monstrous or violent colored. The modern writer uses a tinge of fallacy which Homer failed to write. He states that this is because Homer has no feelings about the sea, but a faith in the animation. He separates his mind into a great abstract image of a sea power, and he considers something greater than the waves that he calls as a god. The love of nature is an invariable goodness of heart and justness of moral perception. Even without moral practices, if the love of nature is there, the nobleness and beauty of character is felt. If not, the mind is hard, worldly and degraded. Wherever it is present, it acts for the good on the character. The education has associated the love of nature with willfulness, and the time has associated it with faithlessness. The love of nature has been a faithful and sacred element of human feeling. One who loves nature will have more faith in God. He considers two precious things in this world, One is given by God for nothing such as sun, air, and life. The other one is given for price such as wine and milk. He says that to be strong one must work, to be hungry one must starve, to be happy one must be kind, and to be wise one must look and think. Changing of time or place will not make one stronger, happier, or wiser. Humans are longing to conquer the space and time, and he says that in reality they cannot conquer it. What makes a human is not going or moving from place to place but being himself. He indicates the moving of messages through different mediums of communication. The religious communications were done on foot, and those were very faster than the pace of the foot. All true happiness are near to humans, but they neglect it. He says that men have the power to do things, but they will never have the power to do more. He concludes the essay by saying that the world's prosperity or adversity depends upon knowing and teaching few things and not on the iron or steam. For more videos, like, share, subscribe. Thank you.